All right, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast. Pit stop. It is 10 minutes, a little late. Apologize to anybody who's been waiting around. I'm a little under the weather. I just had to put a baby down, and I also am debating on how to do these things going forward as far as how to film them. The light in here was terrible this afternoon, so I've got this like crazy light over here. It's been a lot of complications this afternoon, to be quite honest. But yeah, let's jump right into it. Basically, if you saw that sort of table of contents in the Instagram stories, production woes was the headliner. If you guys remember back in the fall, late fall, call it November, I was hoping to release the most recent production around November 15th. That didn't work out. It ended up being something along the lines of December 20th. I got a couple of returns, and I got a couple of people who made me aware that there was somewhat of a fit problem on the production. So what does that mean? That meant that basically every shirt was fitting basically a size small, which was pretty stressful, I guess, going into the holidays. So I had to yank everything off the website. So if you knew over the last like 6-7 weeks that like, where are all these new colors? Where are these new colors of the t-shirts? Sorry if you could hear that. That was my daughter. She's sleeping. I'm gonna have to turn off the monitor anyway. Yeah, so I had to pull all the new colors off of the website because I just can't sit here and like sell you guys stuff that's not right. So that's on me and on production. So we fixed that. So all of the new colors, then new, now new again, those are now available on the website. So if you haven't been on the website in about 6 weeks, you may have missed the new colors in the website because they were pulled. Now they are back on there and have been for the better part of a week. So proud to say that those are right and they're good, and go get them. Very much springtime colors. However, I do realize that some of these are a little bright for some of you, but take a chance, change it up a little bit. Yeah, anyway, that's kind of the latest from the t-shirts. The other sort of woe was those who placed pre-orders for the suede jackets. They have been cut, but then one of the sewers decided not to show up to work yesterday. So I was supposed to pick these things up on Friday and get them in your hands, hopefully sooner than later. I do know that the cold spell that we've been having is not going to go on forever. So I would love to get these suede jackets in your hands, and I am doing everything in my power to get them in your hands as soon as possible. With that being said, I just have to sit and wait the way you guys do because I'm not the one actually sewing these things. So that employee needs to show up to work. These are very small production facilities that I work in, especially for certain garments. These things that are very nice require very skilled people, and to create the kind of quality that my manufacturers know I will only accept. No, it does not. Sorry, let me interrupt myself. Did the sizing concern also affect the hoodies? Not at all. It was only the short sleeve t-shirts. That's it. Only the t-shirts, some of the long sleeves too. So completely different fabric in all of the sweatshirts. So the lightweight sweatshirts, the heavyweight sweatshirts, the heavyweight hoodies, those are all French terry, totally different fabric. All of that good stuff is, those have been on the website this entire time because those did not incur or encounter a fit issue. So, only for the t-shirts. But I think everybody who bought t-shirts, I kind of reached out to them and said, look, are you having an issue? And either they said, no, love them, or I got them sent back. So at any rate, the t-shirt should be squared away. But again, the suede jackets, they are in progress. That ball is rolling, and those things should be coming along sooner than later. Again, I was hoping to pick them up in LA on Friday. It's looking like it might be next week. But I will keep all of you guys posted if should anything change. What else? So that's it really for the production, honestly. I did want to touch on the Resto Mod collection. A lot of people reached out. Well, first of all, the response was great. I think damn near everything sold except for maybe one hat. I think there might be either one black hat or one blue hat remaining. I can't remember. I think it's the blue one, and it might be the Citroen hat, which actually I kind of like. The Resto Mod products, the way those things work is basically they are meant to be somewhat extremely limited production, very special, kind of one-off stuff. It's not like I want to be known for making hats with a Hoyer patch, although that was fun. But then I got 6, 7 people, 8 people asking for when can I get a Hoyer hat. That's sort of the purpose of this, is to make these things really unique and special, and for those people to get something unique and special. Not to say that having a standard H hat isn't special because I made so many of them, but you're supporting the brand in all fairness. So the Resto Mod collection will forever be extremely limited, and that's why it's important to pay attention to like the emails and the announcements and the Instagram posts and everything announcing the arrival of these things. Because if there is something you really like, jump on it. Because in the case of these Resto Mod pieces, there's only going to be one. So either one hat or one medium or one large, one extra large, things of that nature. It seems the Willie shirt jackets, I only made one medium, one large of those. They both sold in the day, which was awesome. Thank you to those of you who bought the hats and the jackets. Super fun. Those things are really fun to work on. A little behind the scenes, though, the way manufacturing works is manufacturers don't love making just one of anything. So that's not only do the patches cost money, obviously, but usually production costs are elevated when they're only making something once, even if it is just stitching patches onto something else. But like I said, I made one medium, one large. So in the case of the Willie shirt jackets, there were 2 made, far from a normal production run. So my manufacturers basically have spoken up and said, we would love nothing more, Wesley, than to do more than 2 of these. But I'm willing to pay a little more to do that so that they are limited and special for you guys. And, we all like to have our own little identity in these things. And I think that's kind of the ethos behind the Resto Mod collection, is that these products are limited. So anyway, I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys appreciate it. And obviously the look and the feel of these things visually resonated because, I think I sold every hat, but maybe one. So thank you for the support. That was awesome. And like I said, super fun for me because it's, just something a little bit different for me to work on. So that's awesome. I got back from NABS in Miami. I am doing a complete photo report, sort of that's what I'm calling it, like a photo journal report on what will now be known as the Substack channel, which I'll speak about a little bit more as is this sort of table of contents is somewhat in a chronological order. NABS in Miami was great. It's a great turnout of collectors. The number and kinds of watches and references of watches was unreal. The food was great. The company was great. The conversation was great. The drinks were great. Shout out to Jimmy for bringing champagne. That was insane. Such a good or great bottles, I guess, technically multiple, of champagne. That was really delicious. Yeah, just a great experience. Funny to feel Miami be, 44 with a wind chill of 34 degrees in Miami. That's very atypical, but super fun weekend there. Short-lived. I mean, it just went by so quickly. I took a red eye Thursday night, landed Friday morning, got out of there Sunday afternoon. So it was really boom, 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 go, go, go. And it was great. Had a great time. And then came back from Miami, and then my brother came into town. My brother celebrated his 50th birthday here, and I took him golfing on Friday, which is about when I started feeling under the weather. So if you can't tell, I'm a little more nasally than normal. Haven't been sleeping great. It's been kind of a weird past 4 days of lack of sleep, being congested, and I also screwed up my shoulder somehow Friday playing golf. I felt a little like, I don't know, it was like tenderness in my shoulder and the back nine on Friday. And I was supposed to play Saturday with him too. I had two great rounds planned for my brother's birthday. He ended up playing Saturday, and I just rode in the cart with him and sort of caddied for him because I literally couldn't lift my arm past basically like here, before it started hurting. It's feeling a little better now, so that's great. Hopefully to get back into lifting some weights and hitting the golf course again, hopefully sooner than later. But so my shoulder's been out of commission. So it's like, man, I'm feeling really banged up here lately, but such is life, I guess. But great weekend. Took him out to dinner. It was the first time in like 12 years my brother had been out here. Very much a homebody. Lives in North Carolina, so him coming out here was special to celebrate his 50th. Super fun. The weather was epic. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Sorry to those of you in the Northeast, but it was like between 77 and 85 degrees all weekend with no clouds. So it was epic. So happy for my brother too, to escape the winter from North Carolina and come out and experience that here. So that was special. I mentioned the Substack. So this is where we're going to get into something I've announced before, frankly, I believe on one of these, where I was sort of marinating on the idea of launching a Substack. What is the Substack for? It's for additional content, things like this photo report from Nabs. I don't want to flood my feed on Instagram, full of just like days and weeks on end of photos of one event. But I just took so many photos, and I do this all the time when I travel. I love taking photos. I like to think some of you appreciate it. So I want to sort of reward those paying subscribers to the content that I'm producing, or for the content I'm producing, rather than showing, 90 photos over the course of 3 weeks or some such, or, 20 photo slides over and over and over throughout the weeks. I just figured I would just dump them all on Substack. They've all been out of my camera, edited. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. These trips cost money, obviously. So it's a way to help sort of make this slightly more symbiotic with hopefully some entertainment for you and or interest and inspiration perhaps. And then also to help support me in doing what I love to do. And I love to do this stuff with and for you guys. But I need your support. So I felt like a Substack made sense. There is a free subscription that you can do. I believe it's just substack.com/standard H, I believe is the URL. And if not, I'm sure if you Google, Substack Standard H, I'm sure it'll come up. But there will be the ancillary free thing that you'll get, or you'll get like the first half of something. So for example, this photo report that is going to launch on Thursday, I'll be emailing everybody about that. And I think it's like the first third of the photos or something you can see for free. And then if you pay, I think it's $7 a month, $75 for the whole year. Or you could pay, I think it was $225 as a founder, but for $225, you are getting a $300 gift card. So it's wildly worth it. That gift card's for Standard H, obviously, not like a Visa gift card. So that's what you'll get. And so $7 a month, most coffees these days, especially if you're in a big city, are about $8. So for the price of a cup of coffee, you can help me out and create some great content, hopefully. These pit stops. I think what I would like to do, I kind of ran out of time today trying to figure out how to film this for like a YouTube type of like landscape sort of viewing. Unless you guys are happy with like the vertical or portrait orientation of this. I think what these pit stops are going to end up being is for free. They'll be live here on Instagram, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, this will be live for the Instagram. Otherwise, these pit stop episodes are solely going to be for those who pay for them. And the only reason why that is because I anticipate the people that are going to sit through this entire episode are going to be those who are most interested in the brand. I could be wrong, but those who want the behind the scenes, those who want the sort of additional stories and information behind, like production and what's to come and why things are happening, things like that, directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I think that will then live on Substack. So this will be only for free on Instagram Live. So what does that mean? That means this will no longer be added to my timeline, if that makes sense. My feed on my Instagram page, like the whatever the main page is for I'm totally drawing a blank. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's only going to be on IG Live. That's it. The only way you're going to be able to hear this and or watch this going forward, sort of in posterity or in retrospect and hindsight, is to be a paying member of the Substack. So that's going to be the way the pit stops are going to work going forward. Again, all of these will be like email and announcements, and like you'll get heads up. And if you're on Instagram Live, then you'll see me and or you can hear this. But hang on one sec. I'm sure this has been said, but look at that Daytona and that hat, top notch. Hey, thanks. Yeah, this Daytona, man, I'm telling you, I can't seem to take this off. It's like between this and my Longa 1, not to sound like uppity, but like these two watches are just, I mean, they do kind of fall under the purview of Grail for me, and I feel very fortunate to have them, and this thing has just been a killer. I absolutely love this Zenith Daytona. If you haven't heard the story before, I'll tell it for the 900th time, but I first saw this watch in 1999, working at Banana Republic, and I wanted one ever since, and I am so glad I moved a watch and a little bit of cash to get this, because man, it's just so good. I absolutely, so thank you for noticing. I love it. I really appreciate it. That is it for the Substack. Okay. So photo report, pit stops will be living there. Also any sort of like interviews that I do on video, they'll probably be very much condensed and put on Instagram, but the full length videos are going to live on Substack. So I'm going to Watches and Wonders in April. Those videos, those interviews that I'm going to be doing are probably only going to live on Substack. I just don't see my YouTube channel virtually taking off like a rocket. So I think I will probably have those abbreviated sort of for YouTube as well. And then again, they'll live on Substack. So if you're interested in all of this stuff, it might behoove you to be a subscriber. This pit stop is not just to sell you on a Substack. It is really to give you all these information, but it's a major change. It's a major update for the brand and for my content and things like that. So, and I'm super excited. I really like the platform. I think it sort of reminds me also of my blogging days, which I often miss. Which I guess leads me to the other point that I failed to mention prior, and that is I have a few long form articles that I've really been thinking about writing, and that will live on the Substack as well. So yeah, like I kind of want to get into writing and some things like that, and this isn't like me coming for journalists lunch, like this is all point of view, just coming from me. This isn't watch review type stuff. It'll all just be very synonymous basically with this podcast. and some of these pit stop episodes and just like my experiences with, my 911 or my GTI or this Daytona or whatever the case may be. These will all just be like, what it's like living with these things and or why I've sold things and things like that. So it'll be fun. I think it's a great outlet, and also just create a tighter community in the sense of those who are really here for the interest, and not just something to do, I guess. I don't know. Like I pay for Tony Trena's Substack for Unpolished, Justin Hast and Stephen Pulverin's, the Gray NATO guys. Like I'm here to support people as well. It's, don't think that this is all just take, because it really is about supporting everybody, because this stuff is work. And yeah, I appreciate what they do, so I pay for their content, and hoping, a few of you may be interested in doing the same for Standard H. That's pretty much it on the Substack stuff. Just kind of tying this up a little bit. Cadillac. I mentioned Cadillac in the table of contents, again, for the lack of a better description. Man, they seem to be everywhere. They are advertising, they are marketing, they are spending on influencers. They did a Super Bowl watch party in Times Square. I don't know if any of you guys are noticing this, but like Cadillac is just, man, they're coming out with a bang with this F1 rollout. I don't know. What do you guys think? I only bring it up almost sort of like as a rhetorical question, really. I mean, there's no right answer, but it's just something it just keeps coming up. I know back at Car Week at Pebble Beach, there's tons of people there as guests of Cadillac. I can't think of what they're producing for the road that is like really catching my eye in a new way. So maybe 2026 will bring something special. Perhaps Blake Bettner and I on our F1 podcast will maybe touch on the road cars in the near future. I guess I should mention Blake in the F1 podcast. That will not be behind any sort of paywall. So that will always be free, just so you're aware. For those of you who are interested in the F1 shows. So yeah, Cadillac just like killing it. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see. I like the moves. I just hope the road cars continue to do what they're doing. I know the F1 team is going to be a fascinating watch this year. I watched an interview briefly with Valtteri Bottas this morning with a very famous F1 photographer named Kim, and Kim Illman, I think is his name, and Australian guy. And he was talking to Valtteri was talking about how when the car started, like people were crying because like they were just so relieved and happy that the F1 car they built is working. And I just thought that was like kind of cute in a way. Like it's like, that's gotta feel special, they're definitely thinking outside the box, making cool stuff. Mario, yeah, man, thanks for joining the show. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be really interesting, man. The livery of the car is kind of interesting. I'm wondering how the results will end up. I mean, obviously GM is not a new car brand. I mean, they've been around forever. The two drivers they have are insanely talented. Valtteri being a reserve driver over the last year. I'm sure that was difficult to just watch races all the time. But he had to remain in form and shape and stuff. So I'm sure he's ready to just hit the ground running. Not sure about Checo. I don't know. What was he doing last year? I don't know if I'm drawing a blank. I don't think he was a reserve driver. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, very, very interesting. That's about it. That's all I got to say, really. So, sorry, I know I keep talking about Substack. The other thing about Substack is you can leave comments and ask questions and all that stuff. Not to say that you can't in Instagram. I'm just saying that's also an sort of an attribute of the platform. So you can comment on those specific posts, and you can message me directly through Substack. And then also, I mean, feel free if you ever need to email me, just send me an email, info@standard-h.com. Of course, you're here on Instagram anyway. You can DM me. I'm really trying to mitigate the number of DMs I'm going back and forth with. It's become completely like a separate email inbox, which I worry Substack will be potentially the same, but not nearly as many people will join the Substack as following me here on Instagram. So, but anyway, that's it. That's all for this edition of the Pit Stop. So hope all of you are having a great week so far. Enjoy the rest of the week. Stay warm if you need to. It is actually, temperatures dropped here a little bit too. But that's when you know a conversation's over, when you start talking about the weather. Anyway, hope everyone's having a great week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you soon. Take care.